So we have 6 topics, and you're saying that, and are you taking the broker one or the salesperson one?
Just the sales.
Okay, okay. So when we look at this, then you see there 4 questions about duties and powers, licensing. You said yours, the biggest one is ethics, and
I think I stumbled a little bit with not really business conduct. I think it was more so on my license and requirements, maybe, and brokerage relationship.
yeah, so brokerage relationship would be one for everyone because it has the most questions. So
Right.
let me first share the resources. So this is the disclosure disclaimer. So in Maryland, the seller has the choice either to disclose or to disclaim. When the seller is making that choice, there's 7 sellers that are exempt, meaning they don't need to disclose anything other than obviously material facts. They don't
Right.
even need to fill out this form. So this 7, when you look at the form, are the sellers who are going to be exempt. Look through that because you might get a question on that.
On like who's exempt, you mean?
Yeah, so just in summary, this is how I simplify this is a property that someone else has checked and confirmed that it is okay. So if you
Yeah.
look at the list, this is new construction, initial sale, that's new construction. Letter B is talking about somebody who has the permits, the certificate of occupancy. So it's a seller who is selling the house and someone else has confirmed the condition of the house. And it's also sellers who really wouldn't know the condition of the house. So when we look at number 3, foreclosure, the lender really wouldn't know the condition of the house.
Right.
And then if it's a tax sale, Baltimore County really wouldn't know the condition of the house.
Right. Now, like DC, yeah, DC's right up in there.
Okay, so then you have the states. So in a nutshell, it's sellers who really wouldn't know the condition of the house and it has been confirmed by someone else. So those are the 7. The other thing that you might see questions on is latent defects, and that's covered here. So latent defect is anything that I cannot see and would cause a direct threat to my health and safety. So latent, hidden threat to my health and safety.
Okay.
So the seller would be filling it out, no blanks. So that's the disclosure, the disclosure that would be filling it out, no blanks. The other question you might get is found in page 4. If the property is being sold as is, seller still discloses latent defects. So selling as is, seller still discloses latent defects.
Right.
Okay, good. And then the other notes for yourself with this form is buyer needs to receive it prior to the offer.
Mm-hmm.
If they do not, buyer can walk away up to closing.
if they didn't get this paper, this disclosure.
Correct. Right.
And we all have to sign it.
Buyers and sellers, yeah, not
Okay.
agents, yeah, buyers and sellers.
Okay.
Since we're talking about disclosures, what other disclosures do we have in Maryland? This is the next one, the understanding whom agents represent. So this one is sometimes in the exam, they will just have the word understanding and then ... Or they will abbreviate it. So when you see UWREAR, it is this form. So you understanding whom yeah, so they will abbreviate it. If they abbreviate it, just know they're talking about this form.
Okay.
Okay. One, it's a disclosure. So it's a notice, it's a disclosure. And what is it disclosing? It's disclosing what...
Who represents who?
Exactly. Yep. So in Maryland, something that is a little bit maybe different from DC, you will remind me a little bit, is the word sub-agent.
Mhm.
So in Maryland, sub-agent is, and Chris, which company are you with?
I work with Sampson Properties.
Okay. So Samsung Properties is your broker, and let's assume you have the listing.
Right.
And I, Brenda, I'm an agent. I'm with eXp Realty. I have a buyer. We don't have an agreement yet. When I come to show your listing, I am a sub-agent of your seller. So that's the understanding of Maryland. If you don't have an agreement with the buyer, by default agent, you work for someone, and that is the seller. If you're with different companies, so you're with Samsung Properties, I'm with eXp. If I have a buyer who's not my client, I am a sub-agent of your seller.
Okay. See, that did confuse me, to be honest with you. All right. So how can I make that into smaller so I can remember that? That's a big...
Just right, Chris is with Samsung, agent from a different company, showing the house to a buyer without an agreement.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so as long as there are two different companies, Samsung Properties and eXp, the buyer is not represented with an agreement, sub-agent.
Okay.
So the other thing we have is in Maryland, how dual agency works. It's not me, the agent or the salesperson, it's our broker. That's very different from DC. So it's the broker that's going to be the dual agent. So if you and I are with Samsung Properties, I have the buyer, you have the seller, you have your listing agreement signed, I have my buyer agency agreement signed. The broker of Samsung Properties is the dual agent.
If we both work for Samson.
Correct. Correct. And we're called...
But you allow, like, in Virginia, I'm allowed to list it and sell it. That's my dual agent. But my broker would assign somebody for the other side, so I'm not the only one giving advice, so I don't in any way give the wrong advice to the buyer or the seller. But they still do it in Virginia in a different way.
So maybe similar. So Maryland, yeah. So if that happens, so let me maybe bring that back.
Okay.
You can list and sell your own listing, and by that I mean, Chris, you're the one who's listed it. I want to buy it. I don't have an agent.
Right.
I come in and you're not representing me, you're representing the seller. So you can sell your own listing as long as the buyer understands that you're not able to help them out with the buyer agency stuff.
Right. Okay.
Now, the moment I have a buyer and I have an agreement with that buyer and we happen to work in the same company, and you have the sellers, then now we have dual agency and our broker is the dual agent.
Okay. Okay.
And we're
But-
gonna be called intra-company agents.
Yeah, that's just like we both worked for Samson.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Just to finish up is the buyer or the seller don't have to sign it. So here where it has the signature, the buyers and the sellers don't have to sign it. If they choose not to, the agent has to fill it out.
Okay.
What we are talking about right now and also earlier with the disclosure disclaimer, that's questions on the brokerage relationship part.
Okay.
So let me
So, but then I would have to sign it. Right. I have to do it. Okay. Never mind.
Correct. So let's also review a couple more things. So when it comes to disclosure, the other thing Maryland has, when I meet you online, I have to disclose whom I'm working for. So let's give examples. Chris, you're online, you're looking on realtor.com, you're looking on Redfin, Zillow, social media, you see a property that you like, you connect with me, you give me the address and say, give me more information about this house, or I want to look at this house. So the moment you connect with an agent in Maryland about a property, we need to disclose whom we're representing at that moment.
At the moment. Yep. Okay.
By default, you're working for the seller. One way, you're
Right.
either the seller's agent because the seller hired your company, Samson Properties, to list the house, or you're a sub-agent. You're from a different company that doesn't have the listing. So you're going to disclose to that person at that moment when they connect with you.
Okay.
Then when you meet, the first scheduled face-to-face meeting, you're then going to disclose, you're then going to give them this form. So first contact online, phone call, text message, you tell me who you're representing. And then when we meet today at 6:30 p.m., face-to-face, because you're showing me the house, for example, I need to receive the understanding whom agents represent. So the understanding whom agents represent form is given at the first scheduled face-to-face meeting. First scheduled face-to-face meeting will be key. First scheduled face-to-face meeting. Person has 3 choices.
Okay.
Do I sign it to acknowledge receipt? And I'm going to be your customer. If I don't sign it, I still get a copy, and you, the agent, are going to fill it out.
Okay.
Or I don't sign it at all because I like your style and I want to hire you. So you'll only sign it. Let me use a different analysis that I
Yeah.
dating. and I'm going to use the traditional sense of dating. This is more like you're dating the person, right? And you
Yeah.
have your kindest unspoken contract as to what you're doing while you're dating this person. So while you're dating this person, they're a customer and they have signed the understanding home agents represent. If they did not sign it, you filled it out and you gave them a copy and you continue dating each other. Well, there comes a time when you break up, they have found someone else, you're not getting along. Okay, there's no loyalty while you're dating each other. They can date other people. But the moment you want to get married, that's when you're going to have an agreement signed. And when they sign the agreement, you do not need the understanding home agents represent. So it's almost like, are we getting married or not? If we get married, we have an agreement. The Maryland Realtors has an agreement. It's 5 pages that the person signs that, Chris, you're the one for me. It talks about compensation. So this person now is a client. They do not sign the understanding home agents represent. The understanding home agents represent is when you're dating the person and this person is a customer.
Okay.
So when we are dating each other, you're going to have this form signed. But
Right.
sometimes we get married, we don't date at all. Sometimes you just get married immediately. So some agents, which is okay, hopefully it's gonna be the norm. Some agents will not go out and show houses without an agreement. They want to get married first, right? So if you get married and you have the agreement, then you do not need this form. This form is only required when they say, I'm not ready yet to get married, then you bring this form.
Okay.
Now here's where it gets, I don't know, complicated.
Okay.
House, at an open house, it's very difficult for you to chase all the different buyers that are coming in,
Right.
whether they are unrepresented or not. So an open house is an exception where we're going to use this notice instead. So instead of me going and giving every single buyer the understanding home agents represent, what I'm going to do is to display this form coming from the Real Estate Commission in full, in color, for people to read that I am not representing them as the buyers, I'm representing the seller of this open house. We display a notice from the Real Estate Commission. It's printed in color. Just reminder, you know this, all agreements are between the broker and the clients. We're just helping the broker. I'm sure it's the same in DC and Virginia, to where the agreements need to be in writing. So Maryland, everything needs to be in writing. We also need to have a beginning date and an end date. And we also need to have a conversation as to how we're going to cancel and walk away. So like the mutual way we're going to terminate the agreement, we need to have that. When the person has hired you, you owe them cold AC, care, obedience, loyalty, disclosure, accounting, and confidentiality. So this is for your client, the person who has an agreement with you.
Yeah, I haven't heard that. It's, I mean, it's different, I guess, in every state, but yeah. Okay.
Okay, see, yep. And then when they're not your client, then you owe them just the 3 things. So the 3 things that you owe your customer are Honesty and fairness. Hold on. I have an acronym for that. Hold on. So when they're not your client, so this is the buyer on the other side when you have a transaction. This is the seller on the other side. These are the people coming at an open house, people checking out your listing online. In Maryland, I have the acronym HARD. This is what those people get from you. Honesty and fairness. Accountability is telling them, for example, sorry, the property has a contract. Or when you sell your own listing and you're making sure that the deposit has been cashed, that's accountability. And then they will get reasonable care and disclosure of material facts. There's one thing that Maryland came about in 2019, and that has to do on the confidentiality side. So on the confidentiality side, it's the three things: how low the seller is willing to go, how high the buyer is willing to go, and why. Why do you need to sell? Why do you need to buy? All that is confidential. Well, what Maryland came about in 2019 is the same stuff, even though they're for the client, they're also applicable for somebody whom you thought or whom they thought they were going to hire you. So what does this mean? You go to a listing presentation. You and I have been called by the seller. Yours is at 5 o'clock. My appointment is at 7. While you're there, the seller tells you all their stuff. And then I come in at 7, they tell me the same stuff and see what I can do for them. You end up getting the listing. The stuff that I learned from the seller, myself, I cannot tell the next buyer client who wants to buy this house.
Okay.
So that's something that is in Maryland that we cannot talk about. Okay.
We can't talk about if people are dead or murdered in there or they've done drugs or anything in DC. I mean, like you.
So with stigmatized properties in Maryland, it's not a material fact. We're not required to talk about it.
Right.
What's the difference between ministerial acts and magisterial acts? So ministerial acts is going to be where it's anything mini. So mini to me is administrative. Sorry, hold on. Yeah, when you're working from home.
Yeah.
Get interrupted. Okay, there you go. Okay.
My dog is laying under me right now. I'm sitting at the kitchen table and my dog won't move.
Ministerial acts, going to remember it as something small, administrative stuff. This is opening the door for the home inspector because the buyer agent couldn't make it. So ministerial acts is those stuff. But magisterial is what you owe your client.
Magisterial?
Yes, is what they call it. Yep. So
magisterial,
which is like a judge. This is huge.
Oh yeah, okay.
What you owe the client.
I mean, exercise your own judgment.
Correct. So like your CMA or something like that.
Right, yeah, I always told them.
When you're selling a house or buying a house or you're helping a family member, we have a disclosure. So, and this will come up in ethics. So ethics requires when you're selling, when you're buying, renting, you need to disclose that you're an agent. When you're helping someone in your family, you need to disclose. What is different maybe in Maryland is it also now includes employees. So the admin person who answers the phones for your company, the marketing people, the accounting people, the janitorial staff that work within Samsung properties, when they're buying, selling, they need to disclose. Yes.
That it's a family member?
And family member, yes.